Hey everyone, this is Jorge with Hypothyroidism Success Story. In this video, I want to follow up with my previous video and talk a little bit more of one of the other connections that helped me understand, how leaky gut and some of my autoimmune problems were contributing to some of the emotions that, disturbances that I was going through, like depression and anxiety. And so anyways, I gotta keep this video super short. As you can see, our house is a mess right now. We're building up a wall and basically I'm living in a construction zone. So I want to try to get this as fast as possible. But so we talked yesterday a little bit about how there's a gut-brain connection. And so one of the things that that helped me understand this as well was that when you understand that there's a lot of nutrients that are created in your gut by bacteria through the process of digestion and fermentation, that's when you start to see and understand a lot of these other things that I talk about. So I want to talk about autoimmunity, and I want to start out with what exactly is autoimmunity. And because I've read a lot of things on autoimmune conditions and stuff like that, and there seems to be this idea that people that we're not supposed to know what causes autoimmune problems, which I don't think that is the case. I think that with the autoimmune condition, really what I've come to understand is the body basically not recognizing foreign proteins in the body. And so the question is, how does that actually happen? And so what I have been able to understand, and at least this was what my experience was, the body is not designed to uptake and absorb a protein. So when we're like if you're going to the gym and you're working out and you're building muscle, well, you know that your body needs that protein to build the muscle, but the body doesn't take protein. Like, you don't eat a chicken and then your body doesn't take the protein from the chicken and then automatically transfers it to you. What the body does is that it takes that protein, and think of that protein as a wall, brick wall. Well, it's going to break that down. It's going to digest it, break it down into single bricks. So from protein, you turn it into amino acids. So these amino acids are the single bricks. And so your body now takes those amino acids and then it builds its own protein. So basically takes the brick wall, breaks it down into single bricks, and then it takes those bricks and makes its own wall. So you eat protein, the protein gets broken down into amino acids, and those amino acids then the body uses to build its own protein. And now the reason why the process goes like that inside of your body is because when your body takes the amino acids and builds its own protein, it registers that protein in your DNA. And so when your body's like constantly scanning your body for foreign proteins, and the moment that it finds a protein and it basically checks and says like, okay, who are you? Where did you come from, kind of thing. And it checks with the DNA and says, what, I did not build you. So because it did, because the protein wasn't built by the body, it basically attacks that protein, and its whole job is to basically, destroy it. So that's basically what how an allergy works. That's basically what what's happening with autoimmune conditions. Now, how do we become, how is it that our bodies become susceptible, or how is it that our bodies are actually affected by these foreign proteins? Well, if you're following along, what I'm finding is that a lot of these symptoms and things that we come across with a hypothyroidism, there's a huge connection with digestive issues. And so with these digestive issues, they can come from the different foods that you eat, even like the times at which you eat. There's just all kinds of different causes, but one of the more common ones is basically gut wall permeability, and it's basically damage to your gut wall lining. So depending on the different things that you've been exposed to, it could be bad foods, it could be different medications, all kinds of different things that can cause this. But basically what happens is in your gut wall, you have little holes that begin to develop. And the gut, like if you think about this, when you eat food, your food should be liquid in order for the body to uptake it and absorb it. So your gut is like a sponge, and it's supposed to just absorb the liquid when everything's basically broken down and kind of gets dissolved into liquid. Well, the moment that you start getting these pores or holes blown into your gut wall lining, what that allows is for bigger undigested proteins to make it through the gut wall lining into the bloodstream and basically into your system. And so now you have these foreign proteins that are lurking around your body, and now your body's basically trying to break these proteins down, and some of these proteins can be confused or can be similar to parts of the body. So if you have a foreign protein that the body looks at and it's a similar, it's basically the body thinks that the thyroid hormone or your thyroid gland is like that other foreign protein. Well, it's going to be releasing all these enzymes to kind of try and destroy it, and that's where the self attack comes in. Yesterday we talked about how there's a gut brain connection where when you develop, you basically start out as a little ball and you split up where the top part becomes your brain and then the bottom part becomes your gut, and there's this connection. And that also talk about how a lot of neurotransmitters are created in the gut. One of those neurotransmitters happens to be serotonin, and serotonin is basically the moment that gets disturbed, that's when things like depression, even bipolar disorder, I believe I've read as well, can be affected by that. And all that, again, it boils down to poor digestion, especially if the things that are creating this poor digestion are also the things that are blowing a hole, in your gut wall lining. That's what I'm seeing is happening. And so that's one of the reasons why when I did my juice fast, what that allowed me to do was basically give my body a break, especially my digestive system, with the concept of like if you've ever fallen and scraped a knee or just cut yourself, you don't really do much to heal that wound. I mean, you may clean it up, put a little bit of alcohol or oxygen peroxide or whatever, something to clean it up, but then you just leave it alone and the body will basically heal itself. And that's more or less the same concept that happens with fasting, is that because you're leaving it alone, you're allowing the body to self-heal, and so you're allowing the gut wall lining to basically heal itself. Now, there are some nutrient requirements, and that's one of the reasons why it's important to know when you're going into a fast, what is it exactly that you're, kind of like the signs that you're looking for as far as, things that should be happening or, stuff like that. But then also when you come out of a fast, there are things that you're going to want to know about, like what kind of nutrients to take on. One of the things that I did, because I knew that I had digestive issues, one of the awesome things about fasting is that it basically forces you to cut out a lot of these foods that are causing a lot of these issues to begin with. Things like sugar, conventional, meat, grains, especially things like wheat, corn, or soy, which are very likely to be GMO if you are buying them conventional. Caffeine, and there's like all these different food groups that seem to have an effect on your gut health. Well, that's kind of like what you're cutting out. And so after I got done with my fast, I went on a more or less raw vegan type of diet, and so that basically helped with inflammation, which again, if you have chronic inflammation, that's another way that your gut wall can get messed up. Your gut health can also be affected by that. But then one of the things that I know helped me out a lot with, especially with leaky gut, was a bone broth protein. And not necessarily protein, but just the bone broth itself. Now, problem with making bone broth is that bone broth can be, the traditional way to make bone broth it can take like 24 to 48 hours, and like I personally don't know how to make it myself. Usually when I have bone broth, it's either because grandma made some, chicken soup, and she made some bone broth. But one of the products that I personally use is basically this bone broth protein. So you can find these. There's some stores that are starting to carry these, but if not, I'll have a link below this video for you to check out a little bit more about this. It has a lot of nutrients, and so you have to understand. One of the things that I like about these is it's paleo friendly. For a lot of these autoimmune conditions, so like people that ask me about diet and stuff like that, the two like top diets I guess that I would consider is basically a ketogenic type of diet, and more of a plant-based ketogenic type of diet. Not I've seen some ketogenic diets where they load you up with a lot of bacon, red meat, and stuff like that, and sure, some of those may there's not necessarily that meat is bad or whatever, but I just find the plant-based to be a little bit better. But then there's also the autoimmune paleo diet. So anyways, I gotta cut this short. I just got more construction workers coming through, so I'll hope to see you on the next video, and I hope this information was helpful. If it was, then don't forget to comment below and let me know what you liked about it also. So anyways, yeah, just comment below, like this video, and share it. I'll see you guys next time.